Welcome to Retrofitting Our Reality, a podcast brought to you by Artus Air. I'm Rebecca Stewart, CEO and co-founder of Artus Air, and it's my pleasure today to have a guest in who has seen technology in the way it can disrupt an industry, not only for efficiency, but the opportunity it presents in how we light up our lives. Florence joins me today in Hilson Moran's award-winning office space called the Living Lab, a home for innovation, collaboration, and a testbed for the new in our industry. Florence, I'm hugely honoured to have you here today.
Becca.
Hi. So you were a great inspiration to me in my first job in the built environment, not only as someone who is carving out a new space for lighting design from the very traditional electrical engineering discipline, but doing that at the same time as raising a small family and a young family. So thank you for taking your time out to come today. Please do introduce yourself to our listeners.
Thank you, Rebecca, and I'm honored to be invited and have this chat with you. Where I am now, I've retired from a company called Arup that I've worked for over 35 years, since even before I graduated. And I started as electrical engineer, and my expertise is in lighting design, as you said. And before I retired, I also was the former board director of our region, overseeing Arup University and also our ventures operations as well.
Fantastic. Can you just bring alive like 2 or 3 projects that you've done in your career that the listeners might have heard about?
Yes, I can certainly do that, of a few projects. But before I do that, I also want to mention about lighting design at Arup. It's been evolved as a specialist discipline. And I was also one of the co-founders of the lighting practice within Arup. Over the years, we have evolved from 4 people based in London to globally more than 120, 140 lighting designers in various different continents, different Arab offices, doing a lot of work. Thinking about the projects, the memorable ones are also the ones that are very closely aligned to my life stage.
Yeah.
When I was pregnant with my first, I was working on the Tate Modern project as a conversion from an old power station into a modern art museum. So that's kind of repurposing, really start from then.
Yeah, fantastic.
A lot of that. And
great
I can come back to that later.
Yeah.
And then the second one was the Millennium Bridge. And that's the time when I was designing it, I was pregnant with my second child. So that was another very, very memorable project because it's a new bridge was kind of new to the River Thames for over 100 years, building new.
Yeah.
And also that was a time when I really took lighting in a different way of not just looking at standards, how do you light a bridge to whatever lux levels on the horizontal plane on the ground.
Yeah.
But actually questions, if you have a new bridge crossing the River Thames at night time in the middle of London, when everywhere else the two banks of the river are buzzing.
Yeah.
How do you want people to actually feel when they're crossing that river at night time? What's the opportunity that this could bring, that lighting can bring differently on that bridge?
What was it about? So if we think about design thinking, what gave you the opportunity to think like that? Because you need the space to be able to have those thoughts. I mean, was it being pregnant that?
No, it's not. It's just something quite. I think it's in me that I always question of what do I want to do and what do I want to be from a long time. I studied engineering at Cambridge, but while I was doing that course, I found there's something missing in it. That the course obviously is very technological, focused, numerical, a lot of mathematics as well. But what's the purpose of learning engineering and what is missing? And that's the point also I suddenly could dawn on me that lighting is a very interesting subject because it's not just the physics part of light and it's not just the engineering part, the technology of providing enough lumens on the surface for people to see, but there is something in me that when I enjoy a show in a theatre or musicals, there's something really because of the light that stirs me up.
Yeah.
And when I was doing some kind of student productions at uni, that's what I've tried out and play out, and there's something more than a number, and that's what I want to explore. So whatever project's thrown at me, I always sort of question is, what else beyond the number that can add to the final result.
And no one was really thinking about it like this at the time.
There are people thinking about it, and actually that was one of my low points, because when I wanted to do lighting design at the time, all the legends that I see in the industry are brilliant, but they don't come from engineering. To a point that sometimes when I read journals and magazines, when they talk about lighting projects, there's an undertone that anyone come from a technical engineering background, they cannot design. So that becomes a new challenge. I said, really? Is it?
Yeah.
How would I approach it? I mean, I have the baggage of being an engineer. But I'm sure I can do better than that.
But engineering wasn't linked with design at all. And
at that time, in my concept, in my head, engineering is very technical, brilliant.
It's a toolkit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have come to believe through my growing up, yes, great in maths, good at science, and going engineering, you'll be great. But I couldn't take that directly into a field that I really want, because all the people I see, heard, doing great work, they come from more design background, architecture, etc. It's almost a preclude. I can't join come into that professional community.
Do you think the split is defined as a creative designer rather than a engineer with a toolkit, say, as a metaphor for the science behind it? Are they kind of therefore more in touch with the human aspect and the kind of what is the feeling that we're trying to create? Do you think at the time that was the association of design rather than engineering?
And it came across as like a black art.
Right.
I've
just got it.
You've got it. It is one of those bow tie moments. It's a black art.
Yeah.
It's something very intuitive.
Yeah.
But being kind of nurtured in the Arup environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also learned that whatever we do as an engineer to create a good solution, to arrive at a good solution, is actually a creative act.
But we just never were defined like that.
The society doesn't define creative as someone that could come from a technical background. But in Arabs, this Arab philosophy and the influence is, no, creativity actually bring a lot more things together.
Yeah.
There's the art element, but more critical is relevant and being sort of useful, socially useful to the society as well. Is the outcome good?
And what does good look like, actually? Because good doesn't just look like you can see where you're walking across the bridge.
Absolutely. And innovations, we talk about innovations now, that creativity definitely is an element that needs to be there. And it doesn't just mean beautification or the style, the kind of superficially what things look like, but what it really means
and are you
affect
safe
people.
And has that journey been a good feeling, and has it supported you going from A to B in a way that you...
Why does it matter?
Yeah. So what you've described in Arup is an enabler, or a place that was encouraging you to explore that a lot more, which is great. When you just think about sticking on the Millennium Bridge for a minute, because there's so many other parties involved, not just Arup. What was it about the other parties, your clients, the people that were building the bridge, the local Westminster Council or whoever, that came together to allow you to push that agenda, essentially, which is about, we need to think about the people crossing the bridge?
Yeah, that is actually a very interesting point, because it got me to think, what does the bridge actually symbolize?
Right.
It's about connection.
Yeah.
So it's no point of just one dreaming of a what if. How about doing lighting differently? How do you actually convince people to come on that exploration journey with you?
Yeah.
So there was the architect, Foster, and he also, at the time, there was a lighting design that they use a lot, and the concept for that bridge is Claude Angle, and draw a line on a napkin, a blade of light. Brilliant. Blade of light. You need to draw that line.
So instantly you were connected into the whole architectural philosophy.
Exactly.
Lighting was in the name of the concept.
Yes. So there's a blade of light, but how does a blade of light relevant to people that actually make it meaningful for them to cross that bridge?
Yeah.
And how I visualize then, if I were to cross that bridge in the middle of the night with the lighting the lighting cannot be distracting. It's not just about lighting the face, it's lighting the bridge, so it's elegance.
Yeah.
It needs to create the safety so that people won't fall off. But also that safety, psychological safety is it. If I'm walking along the bridge, I need to have enough light on the face, not just my face, but someone else approaching me at a distance enough that I can decide, do I turn the other way, run, or keep going?
I'm not anxious about
Yes. So
where I'm
lighting
going.
really, if you think about it, is how do you create that element?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a story, there's a narrative, and then bring others along. So for that bridge, is the two client bodies in a way, is convincing the City of London and the Southwark.
Right,
and the
the
boroughs.
city, yeah.
And that sort of conversation is very important. And sometimes it's not just talking, it's demonstrating.
Well, so you led by example, you demonstrated what it could be, rather than trying to persuade in a kind of, right, you must do this.
Yes. I think it's just pushing on a number game, doing this, minimize sort of energies and costs, etc. It's not enough. It needs to be a solution that ties in the whole bridge.
So we can all actually, they should feel proud of the bridge that they're enabling.
And being innovative in a way that they have the courage, give them the confidence and the courage to step out and stick with me a bit longer.
Yeah,
see how it goes. So some of them need to be a physical demonstration that walk this part, how does it work? Or there needs to be evidence. Go down to other bridges along the river, what actually people see, what are the brightness that is sufficient enough. Because they remember that this bridge is good, that one is not. But it's not a number. And then sometimes surprised that numbers doesn't quite correlate to what they think is the right environment.
And to all the emotion that they felt when crossing that bridge versus that one.
Yes.
You can't look at numbers on a page to go, right, I want a bit of the mix of both. You actually have to tread the path.
Yes.
And feel it for yourself. Okay,
so
that's incredible.
So I think the people side is so important.
Yeah.
Thinking about their future people who were pedestrians, citizens that would walk there, or the tourists that could do that at night time. What did the bridge represent of London?
So you kind of painted a vision for them or helped them. I mean, it wasn't just your vision, was it? It was a whole collaboration.
Not. Exactly.
But you're giving the kind of lighting toolkit into that vision to help them bring it alive, and then make it happen. Free and make it happen.
And make it happen because it have to be a practical solution, not just a vision that someone dreamed up.
But that's where the trust comes in, and that's where, if you're showing by example with this demonstrating, just come with me.
Yes.
They also need to trust that those numbers on the page, the cost and the efficiency and everything also matches up.
Absolutely.
And how do you instill that trust? Where does that come from?
One thing I've learned is don't just leap as if everybody's got it at the end.
Yeah, okay.
I've learned over the years that I need to take some mini steps and bring people with you.
Okay.
Because you could be just exploring. I was exploring as well. I don't know the final result would just work perfectly. Is it I can imagine because of some of the professional knowledge and experience of trying certain things out, it could work. But for others, they don't have the same kind of the expertise that you have, but they do have experience of running a cities. Okay, what works at night, what doesn't work at night. They just know that the outcomes
There's other
work.
essentials that need to come into this. Yeah.
So I think with that in mind is what I bring to the table are very different from what they could bring to the table. So it's equal in that sense.
You respect each other's expertise because they're entirely different to your own.
Yes.
But you know that together.
Yes, they bring values as well because they will bring a lot of insight that can help to verify whether the scheme work or not.
I do like that you have to have respect for each other when you're collaborating to do something slightly differently that's maybe perceived as a bit of a risk. You totally have to have the same vision, respect each other's backgrounds and their experience that they're bringing to the table.
Yes.
And that gives you the trust in each other that you can get there.
Yes, you need to respect because they also have the remit, say for the Southwark, they have the remit of having to maintain the bridge as well.
Yeah, right.
So it's not something you finish and you walk away.
And actually, bringing this person in at the beginning, creates an ownership, a feeling of being involved in the creation of this bridge.
Absolutely.
Because they're carrying the baby for the decades to come.
Yes.
And if they don't have that ownership, you've failed fundamentally.
Because the solution is quite a unique solution for that bridge, and the technology is new for any use on that.
So it's nerve-wracking.
It could be nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But if you think about the whole bridge, the structural engineering side, is designed at 8 meters modules.
Right.
So with a light pipe, it was done as 8 meters. So you've got a light engine at one end of the pipe, pipe the light along a
What is a light pipe?
tube. Think about water.
Yeah.
You push water along a tube.
Yeah.
That's all.
And tell me how then, because obviously the LED is a
That's before
is a
the
whole
LED time.
whole
Yes.
story in itself. So you at the time, what year are we talking about?
That is probably 90. The designing of the bridge is probably 1908.
1998.
Yeah, so I started to get involved.
And so LEDs were obviously around. I mean, the blue LED had already been, that was 80.
Yeah, but that was
80s.
before it go into the mass commercial market.
So could you see it coming at that time that you were?
It could, but it hasn't got the power.
Okay.
So at that time, it's round the corner, probably much more adopted for use on the entertainment industry. Also my entertainment industry, but the entertainment evolved into architainment. So those media facade.
Architainment.
I got it, yeah. Media facade, the
Okay.
building dressed up at night,
Yeah.
nighttime, and some of them doing better than the others. Some of them just like a TV screen. The others is well integrated to the facade. So during the day, you don't notice, but at night, you just transform.
So that was one of the first mass adoptions of LEDs,
Yes.
was more
Yes.
architainment. Okay,
Yes.
because it hadn't quite got to the place where it had
white
full
LEDs.
spectrum.
Yeah, the white LED is
Right.
quite important, and the efficiency of the white
Yeah,
LEDs.
okay.
To be anything comparable to at the time was fluorescence
Yeah.
for some more indoor workplace kind of environment, offices. But outdoor, when you're lighting bridges, you need a lot higher power.
Yeah,
and
okay.
it just doesn't have that power. And also, to get that power, you need big LED chips to do that.
Yeah.
So to get the optics to focus those big light sources into quite a precise angle
Okay.
is hard.
So is that lenses?
It's
the
they use well, before it can be a projector, it could be a parabolic
Okay.
reflector
Yeah.
with the other point source, light source. But with LED, because it's very big, so they need to use collimators or other lenses
Okay.
to refocus the light. But because it's so big, it can't have that precision or tight angle.
You had the technology for LEDs, but it wasn't, it wasn't mass adopted because you needed the power, you needed all sorts of things to happen. How did those solution providers and the technology actually understand what you guys needed?
There's
so
a
they could...
lot of this. I think too, because when we talk about incremental kind of innovations, we can do it in the kind of the more conventional way that manufacturers do their own research, R&D, and then we wait for the product is there, and then we adopt it. It's better than the old one, then that gets through the client's sign-off list. But when we talk disruptive innovations, and LEDs is what come into it, suddenly you can have the power. Suddenly LED can equally match, if not better, than some of the traditional light sources at the lab level. On the bench, you can do 100
so they
lumens,
were
200
proving
lumens per
it
watt.
in small batches.
Yes. So you can have a lot of light coming out from little power in, but now you need to control the light. So it's really useful. And the way how you control it will be different from how you do it with the traditional light source, because the form factor is very different.
Yeah, right.
So
that actually the whole industry's got to learn something quite different.
Yes,
Okay.
and the industry need to learn, but also because of such a potential big change, manufacturing industry also need to be quite cautious that they couldn't really want to get it wrong, because there's a lot of investment going into that.
So which way do they put
And
their money?
they also want to be the one who are kind of well before others to sort of fry the cream of it. And so there are really good manufacturers that do reach out to designers, looking at, so what do designers really want with LEDs? It's not just the power. It's not just about the most energy efficient that win the job. It will still need to be appropriate for the solution that we are designing for. And that's why they want to see which direction and the way that they can get that is go to the industry, talk to designers who's into designing project of different type that could be useful.
So did they reach out? Because Philips is one that kind of comes to mind in the LED journey. But do they reach out to you and go, right, we've got Florence, can we just come along with our kits and just show you some stuff?
Yes.
And you kind of say what looks exciting, which direction is that?
Yeah.
How it works?
That is, there's the manufacturers either at the kind of the OEM levels that really manufactures light sources, but also luminaires. The kind of the earliest stage of the manufacturers is the Citizen.
The Citizen. Okay.
It was really interesting because it was taking a number of designers to look at some of their latest technology in their lab of what they can do with the LEDs. Not just the power, because power we know you can make it as bright as you want.
Yeah.
But now, because they can do the brightness, what is the different kind of controls beyond optical controls, the color controls that might be useful, that you can now do something you can never have dreamt of as a designer.
But I love this because it's so iterative, because you can't think of the impossible.
Yes.
Because you're the lighting designer applying the technology.
Yeah.
But if the technology providers go, but a little bit like this, so they give you the flavour of what is achievable.
They give
and
you
then
the
that makes
palette.
you think, and you go, well, with that, I could do this.
Yes, because we have some experience that we could have dreamt of that kind of solution, but there's no technology that could make it work.
It's not feasible.
Yes, you can dream forever.
Yeah.
But when you have, sometimes it's actually you've never dreamt before, but because suddenly you realize that you can do that with light.
Yeah.
And you have that problem before or opportunities before. If you take the two together, where else can you take that opportunity?
Which is wonderful. So what you've just described is, so not all innovation happens because there's a problem. I mean, it's helpful in driving into the market, because if project teams and buildings and developer landlords are experiencing, high electrical consumption for their spaces, and they're like, I'd love it if this could, be a tenth of the cost.
Yes.
Obviously, technology can go, I have an LED and it's a tenth of the cost, but it doesn't stop there, does it? What you've just described is, I have this product. It is very, very efficient.
Yes.
So it is going to slash your energy bills. But look what it can also do.
Yes. Every project, if you seek harder, there could be new opportunity that you might want to do things slightly differently. That would give you a better solution. So by a series of those projects, even before LEDs, it builds your confidence. And then confidence also calibrated. It's not just straight away you are the expert, you know the answer. But it's more because you're the expert, you would have more questions to ask.
Yeah.
And
you know what you don't know, rather than you don't know what you don't know.
Yes, and there's always this quote that I'm very close to my heart is, if technology is the solution, so being engineers, that naturally, but what was the question?
Yeah.
Why do you want to use the technology? Is it just about energy efficiency, which we know if we're going to adopt it, it has to take that box.
Yeah.
Is it about low carbon now? Is it even zero carbon? Yes, you would. This is kind of understood. But if we are moving into a new innovation, someone is going to invest money in it, how do you max out the value? And it has to go beyond just energy efficiency, the low carbon. It has to be something really meaningful to people that the past technology doesn't solve or give you that advantage.
So what I think one of the tools that you've described to me before is the 5 whys.
Yes.
Which I really like.
Yes.
So tell me a bit about how does that tool work in practice?
Well, the 5 whys is, it doesn't have to be 5, it can be 3. But asking the why is so important. This is also something that I've learned is naturally, if I have to describe to a client that this is what the concept is and what your scheme could be, that's the what is easy.
Yeah.
How to get that convinced, yes, meet the cost and time and feasible and viable, easy.
Yeah.
But in the end, if it's not desirable, it's not meaningful to people, it's not serving the people, the place, or the purpose itself, it's useless. You can build it. There has been a lot of examples before in the industry, in office building, that clients, developers might do Cat A.
First fit.
When they find the tenants coming in, is that we don't like this decor.
Yeah.
All the lights go to the bin. So you can get the best fittings designed for the Cat A office. You can take the box at the time. There's a Cat 2, good glare control, etc. But if it's not right for whoever the tenant is moving in,
it's not going to be
wasted. It's worse in terms of the carbon point of view.
So then it's the consideration in the design phase and being really, conscious about, but why?
Yes.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah, why are you doing it? Yes, I think it's just the learning of need to think from the people, the users' point of view. And that's what also the design thinking is about, is you need to be human-centered.
Yeah.
Need to think about really deep understanding what the users' needs are. Be in their shoes. So sometimes we talk about be in the client's shoes. No, actually, be in there. Whoever they try to serve as well, the user's shoes is a lot more important, because then we have a come and go.
Yeah.
Of they want their tenants, their buyers, etc., to do what they should be doing. So that is getting under the client's skins, but also it is stepping into the shoes of the users is so important. And that's is more than cost, more than about the comfort or carbon. It is the context of who you're designing for.
Yeah.
Why? What are they doing with that space? Why certain people would be more productive in whatever terms you talk about productivity. Is it need to be more creative, more collaborative, more inspirational? Productive is not just stamping papers, or it's not like a factory. Okay, so different needs to get people to work in a space.
Well, you're also more productive when you actually feel better and you feel more alert and alive, and you've had a good journey into the work, and you come in the environment not just because it's brighter so you can see things more.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also it's because the nature of work has evolved so much, and you come into the office, you don't just sit in front of computers and type on. There is a lot of social interaction as well. So.
And you want to encourage that. We need to collaborate more.
Absolutely. Yeah. But also giving people choices. And it could be the design of the interiors, how you design for the spaces, but how the light also give people the choices. It could be a subtle cue of this kind of lighting. This help you to think deeper, or focus and concentrate more. Or this type of lighting, if you're sitting in that zone, it subtly give people a cue that I am focusing. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, okay.
So this is kind of
so
subtle
others
cue of
understand
lighting.
You've gone there so that you can reflect and focus.
And what works for people is, I mean, daylight is great, but some people probably can't work with too much daylight.
Yeah.
We need to sort of respect that our kind of a spectrum of preference, neurodiverse people thinking about what they work, how they work as well. So it is that kind of variety of space, giving people choice, be able to personalize their environment is so important for lighting.
And how have you, because the LED opportunity that you've described, so not just about the problem that is energy consumption, but the opportunity, because it has given you that ability to play with mimicking daylight, because the studies are that is this right? We as human beings, daylight is the best, generally, light levels for us.
Yes.
But that's constantly changing throughout the day and with the
totally
seasons.
The kind of fundamentals that as lighting designers we believe and have worked with in a lot of different spaces we design, that daylight is the best light. And light is fundamental to our social infrastructure, how we interact with people, how we live our daily life, work, at home, at play.
Rhythm
it's the whole thing. And it's not just about seeing the physical element, it's also the physiological aspect. That is through a lot of research into light, our relationship with light, that would tune our body, the circadian. But how both sides would also influence the psychological effect with the light.
I feel good, happy, sad, tired, alert. Yes.
Daylight. But when you don't have daylight, as we now start moving into the winter, much shorter days here, but 3-4 o'clock is still a work time.
I'm still,
still work time. But how do you I won't say counteract, but work with that flow
Yeah.
as well. So there's so much to think about, and
But the technology exists for you to be able to do that.
It gives you the opportunity, but you need to sort of explore, and now you have a lot more stuff in your toolkit
Yes.
that you can play with,
Yes.
that you can
Create with.
test out, but also that means you don't also have the opportunity not to design a space that is static, or a space that you design, you walk away, and that's it, hand over
Yeah.
to the tenants. You can actually design something that is like a living lab, and that's what we've done with one of our new offices at Charlotte Street, is make it a living lab, because we give them the people to control. We can also in real time also test those things out as well. How
So it's
to
learning,
work better,
and
learning
then-
with
yes.
real people.
Okay, so
with
the year
trusted
after
people.
the next season in the summer,
Yes,
it's going to be better than
how
the
we
last.
tune,
Okay.
and because we can tune now,
Yeah.
and we can work out. Does it really work that we said daylight's the best light? With the new installation, we actually put in an IoT spectrometer up on the roof to capture how the daylight varies across different seasons, different time of day, intensity, weather, because blue
Clouds
sky.
coming over.
Yes,
Yeah.
blue skies, sunny day have a different color spectrum to
Yeah.
an overcast sky.
So you bring the outside in.
You bring the outside in rather than just prescribing something that I think it might work for people and
Yeah.
set it and program it and walk away.
It's on this time. It's off this time.
Yeah.
We'll go.
And then if it's over kind of tuned in a certain way, how can we tune slightly differently so that it sync with daylight differently? So those are things that we can play with, we can test with people.
Yeah.
And as our workforce evolve as well, there's always a chance to revisit.
And you couldn't do that with fluorescence necessarily.
Not
and
so
halogens
much.
and-
But there was something that was quite interesting. All these are not just happen for one time. It is a journey. So with fluorescent, if I rewind back 20 plus years ago,
Yeah.
there has been a type of fluorescent with a color temperature from Philips,
Okay.
which really tailored from this kind of blue light, synchronized the circadian, making people not have the after lunch dip,
Right.
sleeping, suppressing the melatonin with a higher blue content light. So with 17,000 Kelvin lamps, the color, it looks a bit bluer.
Okay.
We test it. We have so happened at a time, as the team grow, we moved into a basement space that hardly have much daylight at all. Now, nowadays you can't have those spaces. But 20 odd years ago, we have that space. Great, that is our
Let's
lighting
put
studio.
everyone downstairs.
And we designed something quite simple. It's a trunk of light with uplight element, downlight element. And we take turn to swap over lamps from 3,000K, 4,000K, 17,000K, different
Okay.
combination of uplight, downlight to mimic what we could see as a sky. Uplight is a bluer, focus light, warmer, and with a sequence of over weeks of testing. And we, as lighting designer, experience that before we
For yourself.
recommend
That's
to
wonderful.
the client.
Yeah.
How do we feel?
Yeah.
What we didn't realize is when we do these swapping over, there has been a moment when we have everything lit to 17,000K all the time. So when someone's coming to the office to work, they're submerged into this very blue environment all day. And at the time, some of colleagues actually stay quite late till 8 o'clock before they go home. What happens is their melatonin is suppressed so much, it's almost they're pumped up all the time.
Right.
They couldn't sleep at night.
Right, okay.
They find it very difficult to sleep at night. So when it happens, of course they report back and say, oh, they really can't deal with this. Because they can't sleep.
You adjust.
You adjust, but then you can't. You sleep less and less, and you can't be performing all the time. So we know that it's very important that even with lighting, we have the responsibility to understand the science behind it.
The long-term effect.
Yes, long-term effects. So we need to be conscious that whatever research come out, ask question, why? There are unanswered questions that because research, you can only research in a very narrow area that to find out the causation rather than just correlation that things happen. You have to ask why. You have to think as a design. You have to experience it, test it yourself before really just push it out to a client.
And then you don't waste
Yes.
And then you don't spend money where you don't need to.
Yes, absolutely. To be pragmatic
carbon,
about it.
yeah.
And that's instance with 17,000 K lamps. We brought that into when we have the LED, when we do the testing with all these data, smart lighting controls, etc. We know that rather than just go for a prescribed solution, pre-programmed, syncing with daylight is good because we don't want to play God and we are not a chronobiologist. We are lighting designers after all.
Yeah.
So we need to be careful what we prescribe to people because light dosage is important to people
You have an impact.
much as plant.
So Florence, we've talked over the journey of the bridge, of people going over the bridge, and we've talked over the visitors coming to a space to experience things and a bit of the workplace and Selfridges. So how does, in all of that, how does lighting help people connect with each other? It's so important now today, more than ever, with technology kind of making us so disconnected.
Yes.
How does lighting play a part in that?
As I was talking about, a lot of the journey of the learning, connecting with the clients, bringing clients on board, trying to understand and in the shoes of the client and the customers or the tenants, etc. What I then realized that when we put people in the front, sometimes you need to start thinking about beyond the immediate client.
Yeah.
So for example, as LED become more mainstream and because of the climate change, a lot of cities are pledging that one of the key actions to tackle climate change is, for instance, replacing all the street lighting with LEDs. And LEDs you can control better, then maybe you can switch off the LEDs, switch off the street lighting at a certain time.
Yeah.
So a lot of cities have been planning to invest vast sum of money into replacing a lot of their street lighting infrastructures and street lighting columns, lanterns, etc. across the place. Now, that was the opportunity because you don't get that sort of vast sum of investment on commitment from cities to change lighting in such a big way.
Yeah.
And that is an opportunity to actually explore lighting does more than just lighting a street.
Yeah. This is public realm,
public
realm design.
Regenerations, getting the night economy going, getting people having the confidence go to street and
meet each other.
And
have those moments that they on a bench in a park.
Exactly. So Leicester Square Garden was one of those examples that there are issues about from the crime perspective, how the cities actually need to close the garden after certain hours, etc., because of things happening in there. And then that garden becomes not a place that people sit around.
Oh, it's a hole.
People walk through and walk around it. And so we tasked ourselves, okay, learn about the garden and people's behaviour around Leicester Square.
Did you want people to use
and why?
it?
And why do that? So you get the evidence and trying to work out why. So one of the evidence that we looked at is during the day, you do people counting. How many people walk through?
Yeah.
Very primitive. You literally count and map out the kind of the dense intensity of people walking the footfall. And then nighttime come, things change. Yes, you can say, it because of whether you have a cinema here, restaurants here, shops opening
different destination
pulling people apart. But what's interesting is people aren't also not staying there in the garden. So when we redesigned the lighting for the garden, when we did the remodeling with the architect as well, we tasked ourselves, how can we use light to enhance, tweak it, nudge people to behave differently.
And to dwell.
Because it's the dwelling, as you say, it's the dwelling that helps people to feel safe. It's not the amount of light.
Yeah.
It's how do you create an environment people will dwell, find its destination. They'll come and meet people, say, I'm going to meet you at 7 o'clock here. I have a bench, I sit there, and I got lit nicely. People can see me, so I feel safe.
Yeah.
So all those come into play, but it starts with the evidence.
Yeah.
Questioning evidence, why that happened, why do they feel differently or have to walk differently, and then when you actually complete it, go back.
Yeah, don't assume anything because you're not going to get the right.
Yes.
And have you?
But you go back and do the post-occupancy survey, so check. Has it helped?
And tell me, has it?
Yes.
What happens now?
We have the kind of the more evenness of the people so using the space. So it's also maximizing the values that the council puts into renovating, regenerating that
I'm going to go and try that
space.
out this evening.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was 10, 20 years ago
Okay.
now. But that's the kind of things that you want to impact. So you ask the question beyond the brief, what you've been told, like this to whatever lux
Yeah,
level
but this
required.
is the opportunity that we can push. Yeah.
Ask the question, ask the why. You don't understand? Why? Get the evidence. Is it really or is it just a perception?
So Florence, if you could just give me one example of one hurdle that you've been a part of overcoming in the LED adoption journey, what would that be?
There's always the cost. But then the way to overcome it is you don't talk about costs, you talk about value.
Lovely. So if you were to put the future of our industry in one word, what would that word be?
That's a very good question. What would your one word be?
Empowerment would be my word. Everyone needs to feel empowered that they can do change. And that's by showing examples like this podcast, like you, that change can happen. So hopefully our listeners feel empowered after this.
Brilliant. My one word is enlightenment.
Perfect.
So it's got multiple meanings, of course, related to light, but it is more important is about that knowledge, sharing, and be open that you need to learn, but also how you can also help to share that piece of knowledge. So it's not educating, but it's bring people along with that journey.
Yeah.
And then we get enlightened together.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. And I do have another question. And this is about what would your family say if I asked them what you do?
I think the way how they've seen me talking about light, they don't believe I'm going to work every day. They just think that I'm having fun every day.
That's wonderful. So we should all be in our jobs.
Absolutely.
Well, Florence, thank you so much for coming along today. I really do appreciate it. I mean, we've talked for a long time without a break, which is amazing. And I think it's really going to give our listeners that kind of understanding as they go through their journeys and they meet people perhaps serendipitously, or they're walking at night, why it is that they feel anxious or safe or cozy, it's really given us the toolkit to kind of understand what it is that's giving us that feeling. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to our listeners. Thanks for tuning in. And please do come back and listen again at our next podcast from Retrofitting Our Reality.